Namaste. Is my voice fine? But it's echoing. I think it's better. Mhm. So I think it's 10:29, so let's start. Namaste, everyone. We welcome you on behalf of Greater Atlanta Vedic Temple. We gathered here today to celebrate the birthday of Kashiji, her son Arav, and for the blessings of the whole family for a prosperous and blissful life. And today we will also be having another Yajman joining, Coco. She is from China and she is also studying Vedic philosophy. So she may join in between. So let's start by chanting God's kindly name, Om, 3 times. Let's sit straight. Close our eyes gently. We will chant Om 3 times, followed by Gayatri Mantra, and then Ishwar Stuti, Pratna, Upasana, Mantraha. Inhale deeply and exhale Om, and chant Om while exhaling. Inhale. Once again. Let's chant together Gayatri Mantra, wherein we focus on the Bhargaha form of God, who is beyond all kind of ignorance, all kind of sin, who is peaceful and the epitome of all kind of knowledge. Let's chant Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Next, we will chant together the 8 mantras of worship, prayer, and stuti in adoration of God, who is the fountain of all knowledge, who is the giver of all bliss, who is the ruler, preceptor, creator, and the giver of justice to all. We'll pray to Him to guide our intellect, to make our mind steady, to purify us from all kinds of ills and evils. The 3rd mantra, Yatmada Balada, it says that Almighty is Atmada, who enlightens us who is the giver of spiritual strength. Balada, who is the giver of the wisdom and intelligence. Prashisham yasya devaha, whom wise and learned people worship, pray, and meditate to. Yasya Vishwa Upasate, whom even the sages, whose commands even the sages follow, and the physical forces of this universe follow. To that Supreme Being we surrender, whose shelter and protection is bliss and immortality, going away from whose commands is misery, bondage, and death. We pray to Him to guide us onto the righteous path. With profound reverence, we pray to Him. We offer our salutations to Him through these mantras. Let's chant. Om Vishwani Deva Savita Duritani Parasupa Yad Bhadram Tanna Asupa Om Hiranyakarbha Samvartatagre Bhutasya Chata Patirekasi Sadadhar Prithvi Yamute Mam Kasmai Devaya Vishari Deva Om Ya Atmata Balada Yasya Vishwa Upasate Prashisham Yasya Deva Yasya Chaya Vedam Yasya Mrityu Tasmai Devaya Vishari Deva Om Yah Pranato Divishato Mahitvaika Itraja Jagato Vabhuva Yaishe Asya Vipadasya Tushvada Tasmai Devaya Vishavidhema Om Yena Dev Rupra Prithivi Chandrena Yena Swaha Savitam Yena Naga Yo Antarikshe Rajaso Vimana Kasmai Devaya Vishavidhema Om Prajapati Natvartitayanyu Vishwa Jatani Parita Bahuva Yakamaste Juhumasanno Astu Vayam Syama Padayo Rayuna Om Sano Bandhu Janita Savidhata Thamani Veda Bhuvanani Vishwa Yatra Deva Amrita Manashana Sriti Dhamanya Devananta Om Agnenaya Supadharani Asman Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidvan Yuyodhasmajorana Vidnam Ushishante Namaste Videma Iti Ishwar Stuti Prarthana Upasana Mantra Now we will start with Sankalpa part. Let's take little water in your right palm. Please repeat after me. Chicken, you want to sit?
Arpita, move to the side. You can come here.
Take little water in your right palm and repeat after me. Om Tat Sat
Tatsa,
Shri Brahmano
Sri Brahmano,
Adya
Adya,
Asmin
Asmi,
Shubhasthane
Shubhastane,
Adityasya
Adityasya,
Dakshinayane
Dakshinayane,
Sharad Ritau
Sharadritau,
Bhadrapad Mase
Bhadrat, Se,
Shukla Pakshau
Shubhasya,
Hasta Nakshe
Astanashe,
Dvitiyam Tithau
Dutyan, Tatau,
Janma Divas Upalakshe
Janadevas, Lakshe,
Parivarasya
Parivarasya,
Sukh
Sukh,
Shanti
Shanti,
Samriddhi
Samriddhi,
Abhivridyartham
Abhivriddhi,
Idam Devayajam
Devasya,
Karayitum
Karyatam,
Bhavatim
Bhavatim,
Ritvik Rupen Vinimahe Ayam Yajjana Nirvignaha
Nirvigna,
Sampannaha
Sampanna,
Syam. You can drop down the water. So this is how old have you become Arab? You have turned 11? Okay. So there is a very beautiful quotation from Ved which says Adangira Dadhire Pratamam Vayaha, that our whole life is divided into 4 segments. What are those 4 segments, Arab? Where is he going? Okay.
Yes,
If
no.
he wants to put. Okay, he, yeah. So, Arab, what are the 4 segments in which our life is divided into? Then Grihas, and then Vanpras, then Sannyas. So it says that the first segment, Pratamam Vayaha, the first segment of our life. So if we take an average life of 100 years, the first 25 years of our life, that life you should live like an ember. Do you know what is ember?
Yeah.
What is ember?
It's like the start of a fire.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like in Hindi we call it as chingari, right? Nangara, right? So basically an ember is when we offer something into the fire and it becomes fully burnt, and when it's time of dying fire, so fire has lit up to its maximum strength, and the thing which we have offered into it, it has burned to its whole, then it turns into ember, then it glows, then it shines. Similarly, when you spend your 25 years of age like an ember, you burn yourself out, you stretch yourself to your maximum potential. You upgrade yourself to the maximum levels of your physical, mental, and spiritual potential. Then rest of your life that fragrances with whatever you have gained in this life, whatever you have accumulated in this part of your life will shine afterwards. And you will never get this ample amount of time in your life, in all, especially in your household phase, the time which you will get now, and any kinds of challenges which you will face in that phase of life. The more you train yourself in this first segment, the better you will become, the more you will rise and shine like that glowing bull. So when students used to go to Acharya and Gurukul in the ancient time, they used to take this wooden stick along with them, and they offer that stick to them with the essence that we are also ready to burn like this wooden stick, because when we burn this wooden stick along with this ghee, along with this herbal mixture, that samagri, When it burns completely, only then it turns into subtle particles and it gets dispersed into the air and it purifies the whole environment. So it gives its utmost benefit to the environment. So at that time, the child goes to his acharya with the feeling that I am also ready to burn myself out to become a person of values, of virtues, so that my life afterwards, and it is in all fields, it is in your intellectual field as well. Whatever science, mathematics you study, so you should stretch yourself maximum, gain maximum knowledge, and live a life of austerity, tough, withstanding hardship, without breaking yourself down. With that said, let's start the pavan. We'll begin with Achman. Let's take little water in the right palm. We will sip the water after chanting the mantra. Veer, you also take.
Hello. Let's be present.
I am present.
Om Amrito Kastarmati Swaha. Sip it. Sip the water. Let's take another round. Om Amrita Vinamisi Swaha. Sip the third time. Third and Om Satyam Yasha Shri Mai Shri Sarva Swaha. So you can wash your palm with a little water. Take little water in your right palm. Just wash it off. And then take water in your left palm. And with these two fingers of your right hand, touch your body organ and you can follow me. Om Vagmahaslastu. Om Naso Me Pranastu. You will touch from right to left. Om Nasame Chakshulastu. Om Karno Me Shodamastu. Om Bahu Me Balamastu. Om Orma Mojoastu. Om Arishani Nilani Tanvami Savasantu. Now spread all over your body. Deep Prajwalanam. Light the lamp. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha.
I think we need to इसको निचोड़ना पड़ेगा.
Om Bhurbhuvah Svatyo Riva Bhumna Prithvi Vavarina Tasyaste Prithvi Devayajani Vrishne Agni Manna Manna
ये कप में
Now let's join our hands. Om Udbuddha Swati Pratichagrahi Vamisha Bhute Samseje Hamayancha Asmin Sadaste Adyutarasmin Vishve Devaya Jamanashasi Gatam. Now we will word Samhita. First Samhita with the first one. Om Ayantaye Mahatma Jatavese Rasvavardhasva Chetavardhaya Jasma Prajaya Pashuvir Brahma Varchase नानादेन समिधया स्वाहा इदमग्नये जातवेदसे नमः ॐ समिधानिं तोपस्यदग्नितै बोधयतातिथिम् अस्मिन् हव्याजुहोतन स्वाहा इदमग्नये नमः ॐ सुसंविधाय शोचिषे कृतं तीव्रम् जुहोदन अग्नये जातवेदसे स्वाहा इदमग्नये जातवेदसे नमः ॐ तन्त्वा समितिरङ्गिरो कृतेन वर्धयामसि गृहचोचाय विष्ट स्वाहा इदमग्नये जातवेदसे नमः Now we will give 5 times key offering with the same month. Om Ayanta Idma Jatavedase Dasva Vardhasva Chedva Vardhayo Jasma Prajaya Pashubhir Brahma Varchase Nana Dena Samedhaya Swaha Idamagnaye Jatavedase Namaha Om Ayanta Idma Jatavedase Dasvardhasva Chedva Vardhaya Jasma Prajaya Pashubhir Brahma Varchase Nana Dena Samedhaya Swaha Idamagnaye Jatavedase Namaha Om Ayanta Atma Jatavedase Dasvardhasva Chedva Vardhaya Jasman Prajaya Pashubhir Brahma Varchase Nana Dena Samedhaya Swaha Idamagnaye Jatavedase Namaha Om Ayanta Idma Atma Jatavedase Dasvardhasva Chedva Vardhaya Jasman Prajaya Pashubhir Brahma Varchase Nana Dena Samedhaya Swaha
Idamagnaye Jatavedase Namaha
Om Ayanta Idma Atma Jatavedase Dasvardhasva Chedva Vardhaya Jasman Prajaya Pashubhir Brahma Varchase Nana Dena Samedhaya Swaha Idamagnaye Jatavedase Namaha. Wait, what is the meaning of Swaha?
The meaning of Swaha,
That whatever
whatever I
vows,
put in here shall purify the environment.
yeah,
Should it do some good?
yeah, and whatever vows, whatever teachings I'm listening to, we will, or whatever these mantras are guiding us, we will assimilate this in our life too. That's our agreement to what we are chanting here. So now we will sprinkle the water around the Havan Kund. We'll start from you, Veer. Om Aditeya Manya's from that. From there. To this. Yeah, you can hand it over to
It's your turn.
Om Anumateya Manya's Om Saraswati Manyasva So after finishing the month, we will start from this corner and then cover the whole. Om Deva Savita Prasuvayaccha Patim Halaya Divyo Gandharva Ketan Napuna Suvacha Spardirvacham Naspadu. So from this, that corner. Yeah. This lamp, we keep it in the northeast direction, which is the direction of maximum light. Light symbolizes knowledge here. So we always proceed from darkness, from ignorance to knowledge, from darkness to light. This is the symbol of this step. Now we will offer four ghee offerings. The first one in the left direction, in a straight, in a straight line. Om Agnaye Swaha. Next in the right direction, in a straight line. Om Somaya Swaha. Idam Somaya Namah. Next to in the middle. Om Prajapataye Swaha. Idam Prajapataye Namah. Om Indraya Swaha. Idam Indraya Namah. Now with the following mantras, we will offer samagri as well. This mixture we will offer into this along with ghee. Om Suryo Jyoti Jyoti Surya Swaha. Om Suryo Jyoti Swaha. Om Jyoti Surya Suryo Jyoti Swaha. Om Swaha. Om Sajur Devena Savitra Sajur Sendra Vadya Jushana Suryo Vedu Swaha. Om Agni Jyotir Jyotir Agni Swaha. Om Agni Varjo Jyotir Varja Swaha. Om Swaha. Om Sajur Devena Savitra Sajuratrendra Vatya Jushanu Agnivedu Swaha. Om Bhuragnaye Pranaya Swaha. Idam Agnaye Pranaya Dandamah. Om Bhurvayave Panaya Swaha. Idam Vayave Panaya Dandamah. Om Swaradityaya Vyanaya Swaha. Idam Adityaya Vyanaya Dandamah. Om Bhurvubha Saraktivaya Aditya Prana Pana Vyanebhya Swaha. Idam Agni Vaivaditya Prana Pana Vyanebhya Idam Om Mahapo Jyoti Rasomritam Brahma Bhurvubha Swaro Swaha. Om Yamedha Vagana Vitarasho Vasate Tayama Madhyavedhayame Medha Vidam Guru Swaha. Om Vishwani Deva Savita Kuritani Parasuva यद्भद्रं तन्न आशुभः स्वाहा ॐ अग्नेय सुपधाराये अस्मान् विश्वानि देववयुनानि विद्वान् यूयो यस्मजुहुराणमेनो भूयिष्ठान्ते नम उक्तिं विधेम स्वाहा ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् स्वाहा ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् स्वाहा ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् स्वाहा. Now I request all of you who are sitting behind, please come forward to give offering with the Gayatri Mantra. We will continue chanting Gayatri Mantra together. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi धियो यो नः ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् स्वाहा ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् स्वाहा. Come forward. ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् स्वाहा ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् स्वाहा. One last time. ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् स्वाहा. So as we are celebrating birthday of Rashidi, of Arav, and today is also the birthday of Viratji, who is a great volunteer and selflessly doing his duties, fulfilling his responsibilities towards society. And Rashidi and the family, they don't need any introduction, the kind of commitment and selfless devotion they have towards the community, towards the Arya Samaj, and the way they are bringing up their children well, that doesn't need any introduction. So let's move on to the special prayers of birthdays today, and we'll start with the 4 key offerings. Om Bhuragnaye Swaha. Om Idam Agnaye Dannamah. Om Bhuvarvaye Swaha. Idam Vaye Dannamah. Om Swaradityaya Swaha. Idam Adityaya Dannamah. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaragdevaya Vaktitebhyah Swaha. Idam Agni Vaivadhyaya Mama. So we can move on to the Padya mantra. So the first mantra, Arav, can you chant this mantra along with its meaning? Go ahead. Om Masim Chantu Maruta Sampusha Sambrihaspati Sammaya Magni Sichatu Prajaya Chadhanena Chadidhamayu Prinotu Me Swaha. Read its meaning.
May the five elements, the vital air, the nourishing earth, food digesting energy, Agni, the juice-giving water, and the balance maintaining.
It should be sky. May make my
May my body be healthy and strong. May I be blessed to live 100 years in the company of my kids and kin, in wealth and prosperity.
next mantra. Om Shatam Jiva Shatam Parhamana Shatam Hemanta Shatamu Hemant Vasantan Shatam Indragni Savita Brihaspati Shatajusha Abhishekam Punardu Swaha. Read its meaning as well.
May we food that promotes long life, strength, and intellect, happily see 100 autumns, 100 springs, 100 springs, and 100 summers. May we peacefully live a full and long life.
So the most significant word in this mantra is Vardhamana. That may we live for 100 years, may we experience 100 autumn, 100 springs, but how do we then? With the constantly increasing our potential, with constantly increasing our prosperity at all the levels. That's the way to live, that we continuously upgrade ourselves. And we should not upgrade ourselves in a way of competing with somebody else, but in a way that we excel ourselves in whatever field we are, we excel ourselves in such a way that wherever we stand out. Next mantra. Can you move on to the next mantra, please? The next one, please. Kurvande me karmani. Is there? Yeah. This one. Om Kurvande me karmani Vishechatam Samaha Evam Tvai Nanyate To Asti Na Karma Lipyate Nare Swaha. Read its meaning as well.
O human, desire to live for 100 years in this world, but only through constant conduct of noble actions. This is the only way to escape being indulged in results of dishonorable actions. There is no other alternative whatsoever to this formula to achieve this.
So the most essential element in our success is our actions. The whole Vedic philosophy, it focuses on doing noble actions. It keeps on repeating over and over that we should keep doing noble actions. We should keep ourselves engaged in good actions. So the actions which Vedas ordained is definitely the actions which are based on the Vedic philosophy. And I think you also know the 5 kinds of Mahayajna, right? Which Vedas ordained to us. Right, Arav? Brahmayajna, Devayajna, Aditiyajna, right? So now the question arises, they are called as Mahayajna, they are called as great noble deeds, right? My question to you is that when once in a year we arrange that 50 Havan Kund or 70 Havan Kund Yajna, right? Or if not that, you can think of any other noble act. For example, if you have worked day and night for your project, you have spent 7 days or 10 days to fulfill that. That is also in itself a very appreciable act, right? And that also carries some kind of greatness in it. But still, you compare it with any other action. Okay, let's take again the example of that yajna which we do at a very large scale. So that should be called as Mahayajna, or the Dev Yajna, Pitri Yajna, Brahm Yajna, they should be called as Mahayajna. Veer, any thoughts?
I think that the Brahma Yajna, Devi Yajna, Indi Yajna are considered as like the real Mahayajna.
Yes. The reason?
The
Can you
reason
think of?
is because you're doing a noble and or action towards someone or something in their benefit, not in benefit of yourself.
Yeah, that's good answer. And the thing is, these actions, these Brahm Yajna, Dev Yajna, they help us to elevate our lives. These are those actions without which we cannot live well, without which we cannot survive well. Even those other great acts which I was referring to, even if you do not do those kinds of acts, but if you do not breathe well, if you do not have the right quality of air to breathe, if you do not have the steadiness of your mind, Brahm Yajna, where it leads to, the meditation, where does it lead to? To have internal balance, to be stabilized in our life, to be steady in our actions. That will always support us from inside to achieve any goal in our life. The achievement, the materialistic, the worldly achievements which you achieve in your life, they also have they are also of much value. They also carry the greatness in them. But without these little acts which we do on daily basis, which helps us to support our inner and mental strength, they will definitely lead you to your end goal in your life and will never let you down. That's why these are called Mahayajna. So now we'll again chant Gayatri Mantra 3 times. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Swaha. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Swaha. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Swaha. Now switch with Ahuti. Can distribute it. Om Yadasya Karmano Atyanicham Yadvanyo Namihakaram Agnishra Swishra Krividyat Sarvam Swishram Suhutam Karotu Me Ajnaye Swishra Krite Suhuta Hute Sarva Prayashita Hutina Kamanam Samadayatre Savana Kama Samadaya Swaha. Idam Atnaye Srishtakrite Dannamama. Next is the silent offering. We will chant Prajapati in our mind. Om. Only key offering. Swaha. Idam Prajapate Dannamama. Now the final 3 offerings with which we will conclude the yajna. Om Sarvam Vai Purnam Swaha. Along with Samudri. Yeah, offer this as well. Sarvam Vai Purnam Swaha. Om Sarvam Vai Purnam Swaha. Yajna Pratna. Yajanupa Brahma Swalahijiye छोड़ देंगे मानसिक बल दीजिए तेरी बोले विचार सत्य को धारण करें हर्ष में शोक सागर से पेट श्रद्धा भक्ति से यह जारी हम करते रहें रोग पीड़ित विश्व के आप सब भावना मिट जाए पाप बेटी का लाभ का हो के वायु जगत स्वार्थ भाव हमारा प्रेम पदवे सार हो ममता प्रेम रस में हो कर वंदना हम कर रहे आपकी सब पूजनीय प्रभु हमारे भाव पद कीजिए छोड़ मानसिक बल प्रभु आत्मिक बल Now the Ashirvad blessing first for Arav. Towards Arav, we will propose like this to give him the blessing. You can close your eyes, Arav, and have your prayers in your mind. And everybody else, please repeat after me. Om Tvam Jiva Sharadah Shatam Vardhamanah Ayushman Varchasvi Tejasvi Shriman Bhuyaha. O Arav, may you become long living, radiant, vigorous, noble, virtuous, blissful, and a true devotee of God. Now the prayers for all the Yajmans who are sitting here. Please join your hand, close your eyes. Have your heartbeat prayers in your mind. Rest all. Please repeat after me. Om Satyaha Santu Sapalaha Santu Purnaha Santu Yajmananam Kamaha. Oh God, by your grace, may the Yajmans who are in the company of saintly and devoted people may truly be blessed to fulfill all their true desires. May they are successful in their mission. Om Indra Shrestthani Dravinaani Devi Chitte Dakshasya Subhagatvam Asme Osham Rainam Arishtim Tanunam Vajaha Sudinatvam Abhinam Swaha. O God, by your grace, may the Yajmans are blessed with righteous wealth, capabilities and tendencies of noble actions, a sound and alert mind, with fortune, with success, with prosperity, with sweet and profound speech, and with a successful and happy life. Om Swasti, Om Swasti, Om Swasti. Now, over to Vidyeshwarji.
Namaste, everyone. I want to extend to have a greater at the Vedic temple. To all of you, to both souls, Sunswagatam, a very cordial welcome to our Sunday weekly service. And whatever our week in the past was like, whatever trials or tribulations we had in the past week, or perhaps it was something to celebrate. Whatever it was for this past week, we hope that the devotion of this 2 hours can help to remedy or help to enhance, as it were, those situations. And we hope that you can take away something also that you can benefit for the week ahead. Be it that we, if we're celebrating a birthday, perhaps our family was blessed. How old is RF? 11. And we're not going to ask mom how old she is, but perhaps we were blessed with 2 beautiful souls coming into this universe on a day like this. And we want to thank God, and we say thank you to God. So on behalf of Greater Atlanta Vedic Temple, all of you, welcome to our Sunday services. On the first item on our program is Arav and Veer will do a presentation for us. And so we will go straight into that. Need the second one?
Right.
O Ishvar, you are omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, and just. You need no third-party help for any of your doings. And as the giver of life, you have given us the ability to speak, think, and act. Every morning, you watch over our actions, done by mind, soul, and body. I cannot hide any of my thoughts, speech, and actions from you. Grace me with a mindful intellect, so I may always feel your watchful presence. Hence, I shall refrain from evil deeds and the following pains and sufferings, and attain bliss and happiness. A simpler meaning of this is that, O Ishvar, you are everywhere, and you know everything that I do. I cannot hide anything that I do from you. And I want to feel your watchful presence at all times, so that I may not have any pains and sufferings, and so that I may help the world in many different ways. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to say, I remember the shlok in its entirety, but it goes something about Mata Shatru Pita Vairi. If parents don't educate their children, when those children find themselves amongst educated people, they will look out of place. And that is not the case today, as we can see. And we go right into, we ask the mom to sing a beautiful bhajan for us, Dr. Rashid.
Thank you, everybody, for being here today and blessing our family. The boys were actually trying to say the Ishwar surrenderance prayer that they're learning in Vedic Sanskriti school. Now I'm going to sing the bhajan, and everybody can sing with me. हर हाल में दाता का जो शुक्र मनाते हैं, उनके घर खुशियों की होती बरसाते हैं। हर हाल में दाता का जो शुक्र मनाते हैं, उनके घर खुशियों की होती बरसाते हैं। याद जिन्हें दाता हर दात मिले उनको, बिन मांगे खुशियों की सौगात मिले उनको। है याद जिन्हें दाता हर दात मिले उनको, बिन मांगे खुशियों की सौगात मिले उनको। दुख पाकर भी सुख में, दुख पाकर भी सुख में नहीं मन भरमाते हैं, उनके घर खुशियों की होती बरसाते हैं। हर हाल में दाता का जो शुक्र मनाते हैं, उनके घर खुशियों की होती बरसाते हैं। दाता में शुक्र कीजिए, थोड़े में सब्र कीजिए, फिर उनकी रहमत को दामन में भर लीजिए। ज्यादा में शुक्र कीजिए, थोड़े में सब्र कीजिए, फिर उनकी रहमत को दामन में भर लीजिए। ये बात जो माने वो, ये बात जो माने वो, हर खुशी को पाते हैं, उनके घर खुशियों की होती बरसाते हैं। हर सुख देने वाले दाता को ना भूले, सत्संग और खुशियों के झूले में वो झूले। हर सुख देने वाले दाता को ना भूले, सत्संग और खुशियों के झूले में वो झूले। आदर्श जो वेदों का, आदर्श जो वेदों का इस मन में बसाते हैं, उनके घर खुशियों की होती बरसाते हैं। हर हाल में दाता का जो शुक्र मनाते हैं, उनके घर खुशियों की होती बरसाते हैं, उनके घर खुशियों की होती बरसाते हैं।
Very much, Dr. Ashley, and it's a pity we don't have you every week here. We know you come when you can, and for that we're grateful. Thank you again, and another round of applause, please. For we have another one of our expert bhajan singers in our group. And we welcome Dr. Galatiji to the.
ये जीवन तुमने दिया है, संभालोगे तुम। जीवन तुमने दिया है, संभालोगे तुम। आशा हमें है, ये विश्वास है। आशा हमें है, ये विश्वास है। हर मुश्किल से विधाता निकालोगे तुम। ये जीवन तुमने दिया है, संभालोगे तुम। साए में हम आप ही के पले, साए में ही आप हम पले बड़े। सत्कर्म की राह पर हम चले, सत्कर्म की राह पर हम चले। सारे जहां की, सारे जहां की भलाई करे। हम ना किसी की बुराई करें। इस दुनिया के दुखों से बचा लोगे तुम। इस दुनिया के दुखों से बचा लोगे तुम। आशा हमें है, विश्वास है। आशा हमें है, ये विश्वास है। हर मुश्किल से विधाता निकालोगे तुम। हर मुश्किल से विधाता निकालोगे तुम। ये जीवन तुमने दिया है, संभालोगे तुम। हर पल तुम्हारा अगर साथ है, हर पल तुम्हारा अगर साथ है, फिर हमको डरने की क्या बात है। फिर हमको डरने की क्या बात है। कठिनाइयों से, कठिनाइयों से न हारेंगे हम। तुमको हमेशा पुकारेंगे हम। अपने गले से हमें भी लगा लोगे तुम। अपने गले से हमें भी लगा लोगे तुम। आशा हमें है, विश्वास है। आशा हमें है, ये विश्वास है। हर मुश्किल से विधाता निकालोगे तुम। जीवन तुमने दिया है, संभालोगे तुम। छाया कहीं तो कहीं धूप है, छाया कहीं तो कहीं धूप है नाम कितने कई रूप है। हर शय में तुम हो, हर शय में तुम हो समाये हुए। हम सब तुम्हारे बनाए हुए। हम जो रूठे कभी तो मना लोगे तुम। हम जो रूठे कभी तो मना लोगे तुम। आशा हमें है, ये विश्वास है। आशा हमें है, आशा हमें है, ये विश्वास है। हर मुश्किल से विधाता निकालोगे तुम। ये जीवन तुमने दिया है, संभालोगे तुम।
Very much. That was a beautiful present. I think it's, mark that word, I think it's in keeping with the same theme that Arab and Beer talked about, surrendering to God, which brings me to the next topic that I wanted to tell you about. This past week, the world celebrated World Hindi Day. Are you all aware of that?
Yes.
And the recurring, it appears to me on the internet, it seemed like the recurring theme was when there is something in decline, then we identify as a group, we identify a day that we can celebrate this so that we can hold focus on it. And so they want to suggest that Hindi is in decline. Is it? Is it in decline or is it alive? And are we doing our part to keep it alive?
Yes.
So thank you. Now, I don't know Hindi, but I think Dr. Galati sung very well, and thank you very much. That was very well presented. There is also pardon my confusion this morning, but I have a lot of questions this morning because I don't remember what the saying is. Is it by the fruit you know the tree, or is it by the tree you know the fruit? You decide and tell me your answer later, because right now I'm going to ask the father of the birthday boy to come up and give the English speech. So you tell me whether Arab and Beer got that from dad or dad is learning from them.
Always learning. That's part of the process. Namaste, everyone. First of all, I wanted to thank everyone for coming and for giving blessing to my family and my son, as well as my wife. And wanted to thank all of you for being regular devotees of this temple and continuing to support this temple. So over the years, I've seen this temple and the devotees that are tied to it grow. So I certainly wanted to thank each one of you for coming on a regular basis. So with that said, I'm going to talk about what is consciousness. I know it's a deeper topic, but I will try to make it as simple as possible for us to follow along. And feel free to, again, ask any questions. What I may try to do it as a two-part series because there's a lot to cover depending on the interest. All right, can we move to the next slide? Yeah, it's on. Okay, so we're going to talk about what is consciousness. And these are some of the key fundamental questions we have as human beings looked at for ages, for generations. Doesn't matter whether you look at the Western side or the Eastern side. These are common sets of questions that we continue to ask each other, right? So typically when we look at those common set of questions, we try to understand a lot more about ourselves, and in the process about the world, the world around us. So what I'm going to start off with is, I'm going to start off some of the key fundamental questions. So I'm going to start off with the definition of what is consciousness. So consciousness is a state of awareness, and where you're aware of one's surrounding, where you know everything around you and you're aware of those surroundings. And now that varies from living person to living person. So if you were to look at, when you're looking at consciousness, you look at the degree as well as the level of consciousness that you have. So what I'm going to look at is really the question of what is the difference between us and that chair. Now, again, and I'm going to use some of the examples from the Western philosophy, and then I'm going to look at the Eastern philosophy as well as what the Vedas say about consciousness. So now, I think a lot of you have heard the saying, I think, therefore I am. Now, that was a common phrase that we have adopted over the years, but it's from Rene Descartes, right? So he was a mathematician as well as a philosopher who pondered about around those questions to say, since I think, therefore I am. Therefore, I am aware of myself and my being. Now, our mind exists without, again, our mind can exist without our body, but our body cannot exist without the mind. Now, I'm going to give you a similar type of example on the Western, philosopher. He was a neuroscientist and a philosopher, Sigmund Freud. Now, he looked at, so Freud divided the mind into the conscious mind, or the ego, and the unconscious mind, right? So apparently he looked at three portions of the consciousness. He looked at what we are aware of, what is around us, basically the waking consciousness. And he also called out, again, the precursus consciousness, and also that gets into the subconsciousness, right? So ultimately what we're saying is that there are three areas that Freud looked at. Now, similar to that, there have been other philosophers on the West side, in the West, that have looked at the concept of consciousness, of your being, of your awareness of who you are. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at, if we were to look at the Western thinking, right? The Western thinking has always looked at the mind. So if you look at the mind is, again, if you look at the science aspect of it, we look at it as a biological machine to a certain degree, right? We have, within our brain, we have these neurons firing all the time and connecting all these pieces. So we have our memories, and then we have our experiences, and based on that, we have our thought, and through that, again, we come up with our awareness. So all of those pieces that we are talking about, based on our thinking, we look at, again, to a certain degree, you can say that based on the environment and based on those thoughts, certain things about our thoughts are predetermined to a certain degree, right? We have limited free will or no free will, right? Now, if you were to look at the science aspect of it and certain aspects of the Western philosophy, it looks at that to a certain degree, that being and the biological machine, if you will, And based on that, cognitive learning, which allows us to think about and look at ourselves, our being. Now, if we were to look at the Eastern side of the philosophy, especially the Vedas, now Vedas look at the universal truth. Now, we emphasize, again, we have free will. We have the ability to choose right from wrong. We have ability to, so everything is not just based on what you learn in this life. There are things that you may have inherited. There are attributes and properties that you may have inherited from a prior life, which come into this life, which manifest as part of this life. So what we're saying is that, again, again, our consciousness, according to our Vedas, again, we look at a greater way of looking at that ultimate truth. So what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to look at the level of awareness, right? So when we look at, let's say, we looked at the chair versus us. Now we're going to look at, let's say, plants versus animals, right? When we look at plants, now plants have consciousness. Again, going back to the awareness aspect of it, if you look at some of these plants, they are looking at growing, looking at surviving, right? So essentially the shoot system and the root system are working together towards that consciousness. Now, the level of consciousness and that state of consciousness is not the same. So what we're, when we look at plants, one of the key things that come as part of that is not just consciousness, but self-awareness, right? It's knowing and being aware of yourself rather than just being conscious. So when you're aware of yourself, going back to I think, therefore I am, so now you have raised that consciousness to the next level. Now, when we look at animals, now animals have some level of awareness. So if you were to look at, let's say, a frog, right? Or if you were to look at a monkey, they have some level of awareness. Now, as we're going further up the chain, so if we were to look at human beings, now we have a higher degree of that awareness. So again, even though we talk about human being is really the key, again, the key living being that we know, which allows us to, attain that universal truth or attain that universal bliss, right? But the only way that we can get that is because we have to elevate ourselves as well, right? So our degree of consciousness that we're aware of, it's still not at that level. We still have to attain further. We still have to aspire further to be able to get to that next level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about that next level. So I'm going to look at, when we look at the Vedas, right, and our consciousness as human beings, we start to look at human, which is our physical form, being, which is essentially our soul. So if we were to look at, so even though we call ourselves human beings, we are not just humans, we are human beings. Basically, we have that other piece which allows us to not just live, but also be conscious, right? And so therefore, that soul, to a certain degree, carries that property of awareness and self-awareness. Now, when we start to look at all the key attributes that go into that, now we start to look at what are really those key things that make us essentially conscious. We have our man, we have buddhi, and we have our sanskars. Now, if we look at our man, and the reason why I wanted to break that up is because each one of these words, they have different meanings depending on how you apply them. And if you know Hindi, it's easier for you to relate to these. But if you don't, then it's harder, right? So I want to at least break that down into certain key set of definitions. Our man is our mind. Now, it's also our soul. It's our inside. It's our gut. It's our senses, right? Now, buddhi is intelligence. Now, that intelligence so again, there are also sanskars, right? So sanskars are, again, rite of passage. That's one definition of sanskars. There's another definition of samskars too, which is our deposition. It's our behavior, it's our trait. Do you have good samskars or not? Basically, do you have good traits or not? Now, those samskars, to a certain degree, carry from our soul. So it's not just things that we start with and we carry on. Now, so ultimately, when we look at our consciousness, we have to have all three of those. We have to have our man, we have to have our buddhi, and we have to have our samskars. Now, as they come together, now you start to looking at trying to elevate your consciousness. So what I'm going to do is, hold on, let's see. So I'm going to look at this very briefly. I'm going to cover this topic at a later stage. So I will do a separate discourse because there's a lot of information here. But what I did want to present to all the devotees is that in order for us to be able to attain that ultimate bliss or ultimate consciousness, we have to be able to passage that energy. So we have to be able to control our senses. So again, we're used to looking at 5 of our senses, right? So those senses are what gives us perception. So if you were to look at the outside world, we always look at the waking part of the consciousness. Now, there are other elements of consciousness, which gets into, again, our subconsciousness and our, again, as we look at deeper part of our consciousness, we start to look at, again, unconsciousness, right? So I'm not going to get into that detail just yet, but I did want to at least call out that there are all these pieces to the puzzle. So we only look at, so if you look at an iceberg, right? We only look at the top surface of that iceberg. We don't really look at what's behind that. So there's a significant portion of that consciousness and understanding of it. To elevate that consciousness, we have to understand those pieces. So again, I'm going to cover that for a later lecture, but I am going to cover just one other item here. So I'm going to look at Bhagavad Gita, right? So when we look at Bhagavad Gita, now it states that our soul, which imparts our life, is this, to this body, right? So essentially, our soul provides that degree of consciousness to our body. Consciousness is the quality of the soul. So it's an attribute of the soul that gets passed. Soul illuminates the entire body with consciousness. So when we look at ourselves, we are elevating ourselves. Our consciousness is all around us. It's for every part of our body. So as we look at, again, as we look at, of course, Krishna, and as Krishna, again, gives his discourse, which is, to Arjun, which is the Bhagavad Gita, you can see that again, the horses, those are the senses to a certain degree. Then you have your mind and you have your intelligence. Now you have to look at all three that we just talked about earlier. You have to look at our man, our buddhi, and our samskar. All three have to come together. Ultimately, you have that back voice, which is telling you, which is our soul, to do the right thing, to do the moral thing, to make sure that we're looking at those moral, we're taking those moral actions and we're manifesting those moral actions. So can we move on to the next slide, please? So how do we elevate our consciousness? We have to stay healthy. We have to make sure that we maintain a healthy body. We need to practice meditation, which we all already do at the temple. We need to maintain a self-esteem. You have to always look at yourself. You have to make sure that you're maintaining a self-esteem of yourself. You have to make the moral choices. Basically, you always have to have a moral compass, which makes the right set of choices. Now, you have to focus your inner self, your inner voice. You have to always listen to that inner voice. You have to choose good company. You have to do good deeds. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. But in order for you to do that, you have to have good company and to make sure that you're able to do those good deeds. Let's continue on to the next slide. So as I said, I didn't want to get deeper into the consciousness aspect of it. Next discourse that I do, I will get into a further understanding of how all of those pieces of your subconscious, of your unconscious mind, and then the ultimate consciousness, how all of those are connected. I want to just end on a lighter note. So we all look at AI now these days, right? So AI is really the new buzz. So I took a couple of cartoons. So one of them talks about, a robot, which basically states, begins to gain consciousness. I think, therefore, AI. Again, it's just to build that theme, right? So if we were to look at the second cartoon, you have two robots. Now, one robot is calling the other robot, again, through certain set of things. Again, the other robot doesn't like that side of it. So the other robot basically says, I am going to focus on myself. I'm going to focus on my consciousness. Now, the reality is we know that the robots are not going to, attain consciousness. We may be able to mimic consciousness, but ultimately, again, that consciousness is only for living beings. So therefore, if we do wind up having robots that attain consciousness, they're going to look for their rights. They're not going to be slogging around like all of us. They're going to look for their respective rights as well. So I just wanted to end that with a lighter note. So thank you very much.
I do feel a little bit inadequate because I can't really comment on anything you said. But whatever it is that you said, it was very beautiful. I do want to take, however, in seriousness, one part of what you said about sanskar. And sanskar, I think it's one of the Upanishad mentioned the mind as being, think of the mind and think of thoughts as water coming off of a roof and the water falling onto the ground. If those thoughts are the same, without a gutter, the water falls on the ground and it makes its own path. So in our system here, in our system where we have these two kids and others celebrating their birthday, we try to create that atmosphere where those thoughts come and impact the mind. And that is one definition also of sanskar, creating an environment, creating an atmosphere. To that end, if you have a birthday or you have an anniversary or you just want to say thank you to God and you want to create an atmosphere of devotion, the temple hosts these and other, we can host families, and we have some weekends that are open, and I'm going to tell you the dates that are open. If you want to be part of the service, be a sponsoring Yajman, September 24th, October 15th, October 22nd, December 10th, December 24th, December 31st. Those weekends are still open for this year. And if you want to, you can combine and join together. And the temple has some people here who can volunteer and help you so that all of this work is not left to you alone. So please see one of the leaders and they can accommodate you and tell you what all the particulars are. We do have a new, semi-new attendee here. She has been coming for about a year now, on and off. And we have discovered that she's a very talented singer. And so we have some time. We want to ask Ektaji to sing a bhajan for us since we have some time.
शरण प्रभु की आओ रे यही समय है प्यारे शरण प्रभु की आओ रे यही समय छल कपट और द्वेष को त्यागो, सत्य में ध्यान लगाओ रे, यही समय है प्यारे। आओ प्रभु गुण गाओ रे, यही समय है प्यारे। उदय हुआ ओम नाम का भानु, उदय हुआ ओम नाम का भानु, आओ दर्शन पाओ रे, यही समय है प्यारे। आओ दर्शन पाओ रे, यही समय है प्यारे। आओ दर्शन पाओ रे, यही समय है प्यारे। अमृत झरना बहता है झर झर, अमृत झरना बहता है झर झर, पी के अमर हो जाओ रे, यही समय है प्यारे। पी के अमर हो जाओ रे, यही समय है प्यारे। आओ दर्शन पाओ रे, यही समय है प्यारे। प्रभु की भक्ति बिन नहीं मुक्ति, प्रभु की भक्ति बिन नहीं मुक्ति, दृढ़ विश्वास जगाओ रे, यही समय है प्यारे। दृढ़ विश्वास जगाओ रे, यही समय है प्यारे। आओ दर्शन पाओ रे, यही समय है प्यारे। कर लो प्रभु का नाम ये सुमिरन, कर लो प्रभु का नाम ये सुमिरन, अंत में ना पछताओ रे, यही समय है प्यारे। आओ दर्शन पाओ रे, यही समय है प्यारे। छोटे बड़े सब मिलके खुशी से, छोटे बड़े सब मिलके खुशी से, गुण ईश्वर के गाओ रे, यही समय है प्यारे। शरण प्रभु की आओ रे, यही समय है प्यारे। आओ प्रभु गुण गाओ रे, यही समय है प्यारे।
Very well.
Thank you very much, Betsy. And a round of applause for Joginder ji for handling the IT or technology. Wonderful job nonetheless. Scholars believe that Maharishi Dayanand contributed very greatly with his Satyarth Prakash in Hindi, contributed to promulgating Hindi and making Hindi popular in India. And it was his call to make Hindi a national language. And so the Arya Samaj, by extension, is in the forefront of propagating and popularizing and making Hindi focus for us again. So this mandir cannot go forward without a Hindi sermon. And we have our dear Pandit in our midst, or Pandita, I should say, sorry. And so we ask Ananya ji, she has been quietly serving the temple in many capacities as a Pandit and as a teacher, teaching Sanskrit and teaching Hindi, and a very quiet and unassuming person, but very knowledgeable. And today is our pleasure and our privilege to listen to her.
Thank you for your kind introduction. Is my voice right on Zoom? Namaste again to everyone. When I was finalizing my topic, it was like, which is more superior, knowledge or action? But then I thought, no, both have equal weightage, both have equal importance. We cannot compare one with the other. But yes, the question which can, and I just excuse me because I was told to speak in English, so I'm continuing with English. If you want, I can continue with Hindi as well. Okay, so I think this is fine. So then I thought the right topic would be, what is your choice, knowledge or action at a given point of time in your life? Because many a time situation comes in our life when either we just stick around our knowledge, when we just want to sink more into knowledge part rather than becoming a man of action, rather than jumping into action. And that, as I before said as well, this whole Vedic philosophy which emphasizes on doing action, living your life with doing verily action, constantly involving yourself in actions. So now the topic I have divided is into two aspects. The first aspect is why are actions so much significant? And secondly, what should be our state of mind when we are in the field of action? When we are in Karma Kshetra, Kurukshetra, then what should be our state of mind so that we do not regret over our actions? We do not think backwards, rather than we think forward. How much time do I have, Deshwarji? Okay. So I think because we have limited time, and so I will try to cover the first aspect for sure, that why the actions are so much significant. If I can cover the second as well, that's fine. Otherwise, we'll take it in some of our next sessions. The question arises, why are actions so significant? We all know our Bharat, our India to be Sone ki Chidiya. It was called as the golden sparrow. The land which we touch, the land if somebody touches, becomes the man of wisdom. The land which became the origin of knowledge, wherein our four sages were blessed with the knowledge of four Vedas. The land which became the fountain of knowledge itself. But still, it remained enslaved for more than 1,000 years by Mughals or by Britishers or by East India Company, whatever, but they remain enslaved. If we have that purest form of knowledge, if we have that treasure of knowledge, then what was the reason that we became enslaved, and we are struggling to till this day to revive from that completely? We were not lacking in knowledge, and especially the people who ruled India, who reigned over us, either the Britishers or Mughals, nor they were the knowers of Ved. They did not have the knowledge of Ved. They did not have any special knowledge or any knowledge which is better than which Indians were having at that time. Where we were lacking is lacking in the field of action. To the extent people know at that point of time, if they were not implementing that in their life, then that becomes the reason of their downfall. The people who ruled, they were disciplined. They knew what's the value of doing tough in their life, how to be perseverant in their life, how to continue irrespective of obstacles. They were not any special beings. They were also human beings like us. And they also came across many struggles and many obstacles and many challenges in their life. but still they were able to conquer. It happens even today as well, that the people with good intentions, people who carry the flag of noble actions, they do not want to come out of their comfort zone. And the same thing happened at that time also. The kings, the rulers of various small kingdoms, when they were full of wealth, when they were full of power, they did not want to indulge themselves in action, rather they chose the path of pleasure. They chose the path of sensuous pleasure. They become inactive, they become lethargic, and they chose the path of laziness. They just wanted to live a life of luxury. They gave away the administration and the ruling department of their kingdoms to the Britishers or to the invading kings, and they just want to be satisfied with their whatever share they get from the taxes they collected or whatever way they used to run those kingdoms. And that's how they got enslaved. So when we become used to our comfort zone, when we do not choose the path of action, when we do not choose the path of tap, austerity, when we do not want to come out of our comfort zone, that's what the destiny becomes. So that's why it's always being told that our karmas decide our destiny. Our actions decide our end goal. Our actions decide what we are going to achieve at the end of our life. And that's what, and another aspect to it is why untruth prevails over truth, or why unrighteousness wins over righteousness, is also the same reason. Because the people who are on the side of untruth, the people who are on the side of unrighteousness, they are unwavering. They are of high determination. They do not give up. Whereas the people with good intention, the good people, they gave up. They just let go of their determination. They do not stay by their values. They do not want to stay by their virtues. So that's what Ken Upanishad also says, that if we want to realize the truth, if we want to achieve success, if we want to realize that happiness, that ultimate bliss in our life, it very beautifully says in one of the shlokas, it says, Taste tapo damaha karmeti pratishtha vedaha sarvangani satyamayatanam. Those who want to achieve the truth in their life, those who want to achieve success in their life, they should build their life, they should build their foundation, they should pratishtha, they should establish themselves in three aspects. First is tap, second is dam, third is karma. That we need to lay our foundation on these three things first. That we become of perseverant nature. Ups and downs, obstacles, success and failures, pains and pleasures, they are bound to come in the way of our life. But irrespective of them, if we continue on the path, if we stick to our values and virtues, if we follow the path of tap, if we do not try to find a workaround or a shortcut to the life of austerity, if we do not lift ourselves in the fire of austerity, our foundation is not going to be strong. Second is dam, having control over senses, having self-control, living a life of virtues, sticking to our virtues. That is the second foundation level that we should build our life upon. Third one is the karma, becoming a man of action, not just words. When we join all these three, because actions do not bear fruits overnight, or actions do not bear fruits in a couple of months. When we plant a seed, it takes time to turn into a tree and bear fruit. Similarly, what happens with good people when they put their best into the actions, and when they do not find the expected results, that moment they lose their heart. That moment they lose that path of virtue. That moment they stop believing that path of dharma and they step back. So even at that time, we should wait for the result and we should be consistent in our actions. And we should believe in the justice of that supreme being and continue with our good action. So when we lay the foundation of tap, dam and karma, austerity, controlling of senses, and being persistent in our actions, then the foundation which is formed, that is strong enough. On that, when you build a structure of knowledge, on that when you build a structure of, in any field, in whatever field you are, it can be in the field of science, it can be in the field of mathematics, it can be in the field of spirituality, wherever, whatever field you enter into with those three basic virtues, and you go for knowledge, that's what this Ken Upanishad says. Then you build the structure of Ved and its limbs. When I say its limbs, it includes all the physical and chemical sciences, including technology, phonetics. So it includes all Shiksha, Kalp, Vyakaran, Nirukt, Chand, and Jyotish. So astronomy, all the things so etymology, prosody, in all those fields. Then when you progress, then your perception is way different than what it used to be. Because when you have that inner courage, when you have that inner strength, when you have that mental strength, then whatever field you choose for yourself, you are bound to be succeeded in that direction. And with a combination of both, then you are able to realize the truth. Then you are able to reach your destination. And that's what Yajurved 40th chapter or the Ishopanishad mantra also says. Andhan tamaha pravishanti ye avidyam upasate. The people who are indulged in action alone, they enter into the state of darkness. But the next line says, Tato, that means that without proper knowledge, if you enter into the field of action, you fall into the blinding darkness. But the next line says, Tato bhuya iva. People fall into greater blindness, those vidya yam rataha. The people who are only involved in knowledge, they fall into greater blindness. Why? Because action is to the knowledge is like road is to the destination. If we want to reach our destination, if we want success in every field of life, if we want to become successful in our life, then that road needs to be traveled to reach to our destination. The people who centers all their hopes and fears simply on the road and they are not clear about the destination, where I have to reach to. But at least they walk upon that road. Though they do not know where they are going, but still they will reach somewhere. They will be certainly nearer to their goal. Whereas the people who are simply sink into their knowledge, who simply carry the flag of their knowledge, who are simply proud of the knowledge they have, but they do not walk that road. They do not care about the road. They do not take into account the ups and downs. They have not put their action. They have not endeavored. They have not walked that path. They are never ever able to reach their destination. How strongly or how profoundly they keep their destination in their view, how profoundly they keep that information in their mind. But until and unless they put it in their action, until and unless they make it part of their life, they travel that path, they are not able to reach to their destination, and they are far beyond their destination as compared to the people who are men of action. That's why practice always precedes the theory. Theory comes later. That becomes a support for you, but that cannot itself become end goal for you until you travel that path. There are three important aspects of human life we have been listening to since our childhood: Jnana, Karma, and Upasana. Knowledge, action, and Upasana. Upasana means meditation. Upasana means re-strengthening yourself. Upasana means achieving that bliss. That path between knowledge to that achievement is always covered by action. Without action, we will never be able to reach to our destination. And even in Gita also, when Arjun asked Krishna, on one side you give immense importance to action of me being a Kshatriya. You ask me, you prompt me to go for the war. You inspired me to go for the war rather than stepping back from the war. But at the same time, you are also praising the path of renunciation. At that time, also Krishna responded to him that between the two paths, path of action and path of renunciation, path of action is always better than path of renunciation because you cannot reach that state of renunciation by abstention of work or by not putting in your efforts. You will never be able to open your gateways to renunciation. You will not be able to open your doorways to your heavenly life in this world or in the afterwards or to reach that ultimate salvation. I think with that said, I think I have emphasized enough the importance of action and what should be our state of mind when we enter into that Karma Kshetra. I think that aspect of this topic will take in one of some other talk. So as of now, thank you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Pandit. That was indeed enlightening. I know I said it was going to be deep, but I promise you that this weekend coming up on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if you come back, I knew it was going to be in English, but I just wanted to trick you. If you really want Hindi, you need to come back this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, where Professor Kamlesh Ji will be a visiting lecturer. On Friday evening from 7 to 9, he will talk about Adarsh Arya Parivar in modern context and how. On Saturday workshop will be from 5 to 7:30. Differences and similarities between Yog Darshan and Sankhya Darshan and the Vedic theory of creation of universe. On Sunday, 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 a.m., which is our regular service, his talk again will be on a form of Vedic culture, and that being gratitude. So, and those are all in Hindi. So I hope you all can make that and be here. Now I ask Lataji to lead us in meditation.
Everyone. This is called Om meditation. It is developed by Acharya Ashish Ji. We are following this meditation since few years. Please close your eyes gently and sit in relaxed position. Now we will take a deep breath and while exhaling chant Om. Om. You are a pure eternal soul. Drop all mental negativities, jealousy, anger, comparing yourself with others. Drop all negativities. Continue breathing deeply. Now we will do one round of Bahya Pranayam. That means first you are going to take a deep breath and you exhale forcibly and you hold your breath at your convenience. Take a deep breath, exhale forcibly, hold it. Release the hold. Come to normal breathing. Focus your attention on the breathing process and chant Om silently inside your mind. We pray for welfare of others. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya. We are all children of one divine Mother God. Feel oneness with all. Be grateful for this meditation opportunity. Let us prepare ourselves to come out of this meditation practice. Rub your palms gently. Bring them over your closed eyes. Open your eyes, gazing downwards. Thank you, Dhanima. Please raise for Arati.
Before you rise, please, 1 second. Yesterday, this Mandir, this temple participated in a blood drive, and we want to extend a heartfelt thank you to everyone who participated by giving or any other means. If you were here for moral support, and I would be remiss if I did not say a hearty welcome again and thank you for all the new faces that are here today. We hope that flaws and all, if you consider all of our shortcomings, we hope that we have inspired you in some way with our 2 hours of programming, that you would be motivated and so impelled that you would be coming back again and again, and also bring someone with you. Thank you to Pandita Ananya ji for doing the Havan and leading the sermon, and thank you for the Yajman, and we had a new Yajman today also. So thank you for sitting around the club, and everyone, thank you all. Now rise for the art.
Om Jai Jagadish Hare Swami Jai Jagadish Hare Bhakt Jano ke Sankat Das Jano ke Sankat Kshan mein dur kare Om Jai Jagadish Hare जो ध्यावे फल पावे दुख विनसे मन का स्वामी दुख विनसे मन का सुख संपत्ति घर आवे सुख संपत्ति घर आवे कष्ट मिटे धन का ओम जय जगदीश हरे मात पिता तुम मेरे शरण कहूँ मैं किसकी स्वामी शरण कहूँ मैं किसकी तुम विनय और न दूजा प्रभु विनय और न दूजा आस करूँ मैं जिसकी ओम जय जगदीश हरे तुम पूरण परमात्मा तुम अंतर्यामी स्वामी तुम अंतर्यामी पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर तुम सबके स्वामी ओम जय जगदीश हरे तुम करुणा के सागर तुम पालन करता स्वामी तुम पालन करता मैं सेवक तुम स्वामी मैं सेवक तुम स्वामी कृपा करो भरता ओम जय जगदीश हरे तुम हो एक गोचर सबके प्राणपति स्वामी सबके प्राणपति किस विध मिलूं दया है किस विध मिलूं दया है ऐसी तो सुमति ओम जय जगदीश हरे दीन बंधु दुख हरता तुम रक्षक मेरे स्वामी तुम रक्षक मेरे अपने हस्त बढ़ाओ अपनी शरण लगाओ पार पड़े तेरे ओम जय जगदीश हरे विषय विकार मिटाओ पाप हरो देवा स्वामी कष्ट हरो देवा श्रद्धा भक्ति बढ़ाओ श्रद्धा प्रेम बढ़ाओ संतन की सेवा ओम जय जगदीश हरे हरे ओम जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे भक्त जनों के संकट दास जनों के संकट दूर करे ओम जय जगदीश हरे ओम शांति अंतरिक्षं शांति पृथ्वी शांति रापः शांति रोषधयः शांति वनस्पतयः शांति विश्वे देवा शांति ब्रह्मा शांति सर्वं शांति शांति देवा शांति श्यामा शांति देवी ओम शांति शांति शांति.
O God, by your grace, the celestial regions be peaceful, the space be peaceful, the earth be peaceful, the waters be peaceful, the vegetation and medicinal plants be peaceful. The entire universe be conducive to peace and prosperity. May Supreme Creator bring us peace. May there be peace and peace alone. May that peace be with us. May there be cosmic peace, physical and spiritual peace. Om Anapate Anyasya no Deyanami Vasashnina Pradataram Tarisha Ujam No Dehi Vipate Chatushpade. O Anadata Ishwar, giver of food, kindly provide us with healthy and energy producing food. Grant serenity to those who give food in charity. May all living beings be blessed with energy giving food.
हे अन्न के स्वामी प्रभु, आप हमें अन्न दो जो रोग रहित और पुष्टिकारक हो। आप अन्नदाता का कल्याण करो। 2 पाए मनुष्यों और 4 पाए पशुओं आदि में तेज धारण करो।
जो बोले
वैदिक धर्म की जय।
मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम श्री रामचंद्र जी की
जय। योगेश्वर श्री कृष्ण महाराज की जय। गुरुवर स्वामी विरजानंद जी की जय। महर्षि स्वामी दयानंद की जय। संसार के सभी श्रेष्ठ महापुरुषों की जय। संसार की सभी विदुषी देवियों की जय। आज के आनंद की जय। आज के यजमान की जय। आर्य समाज अमर रहे। वेद की ज्योति जलती रहे। ओम का झंडा ऊंचा रहे। वैदिक ध्वनि ओम। वैदिक अभिवादन सभी को सादर नमस्ते। Please take आरती and join us for the प्रसाद.